Hey everyone! Welcome to the final Geek Report of 2025. This is your Geek Report for the weeks of December 15th through December 29th of 2025. So let's see what all happened in the world of TV, movies, anime, and games in these final weeks of 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your final Geek Report of 2025. To be more specific, this is for the weeks of December 15th through December 29th of 2025. We're going to first start off in our movie and TV segment, and we're going to talk about the new trailer from Steven Spielberg called Disclosure Day. This is a new trailer for a movie he's doing, and based on everything I've read, it's going to have something to do with UFOs. I'm going to talk about this trailer, what I've heard about it, what I haven't heard about it, and just give you my overall impressions of it. Then we got some anime news, and that is that Black Clover is returning. We got a new trailer these past 2 weeks. I'm going to show you the trailer and just give you my overall thoughts on it. Then Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey dropped a new trailer this past 2 weeks, and it looks completely epic. Okay, I mean, it truly looks like a decent epic. We're going to take a look at the trailer, and I'm just going to talk about it a little bit. Then, this final story, I wasn't really sure if I should even put it on here. But the Avengers Doomsday launched the trailer this past week. It focuses on Chris Evans returning as Steve Rogers. We're going to take a look at it, what all it shows, and what all it doesn't show. And honestly, what I think about this trailer right now and the movie in general. Then we're going to move on to our gaming news segment. And we only have one real story this past week's. And that is that Terminator Survivors, the open world shooter that was coming out from Narcon, that was supposed to be in the Terminator universe, has been delayed beyond 2025. And, that's kind of worrying to me. Now, this is kind of a good news, bad news situation. There was some good news involving it, but there was also some bad news involving it. We're going to take a look at both aspects, and I'm just going to give you my overall thoughts and opinions on everything. And finally, I'm going to talk about something I want to talk about, and that is a special commentary. I'm going to do a special commentary concerning just 2025 in general, and basically just to talk to y'all for about 3 minutes and just give you what's in my head as the year ends. But anyway, that is your Geek Report for December 15th through December 29th of 2025. Let's get started.
Now, let's begin our Geek Report in our TV and movie segment. So, let's see what big news dropped in the past 2 weeks in the world of TV, movies, and anime.
Now, beginning our final Geek Report of 2025, we're going to look at a movie that I've been hearing a lot about over the past few weeks, but it's been all rumor. But now we're getting a trailer, and the movie is called Disclosure Day, and this is being done by Steven Spielberg. Now, he just got off doing Avatar Fire and Ice, okay? And I was really interested to hear this because all the rumors were suggesting that his next movie was going to be a UFO film, and quite possibly a few of the rumors were also saying that it was going to be a sequel to one of the best UFO movies ever made, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay? Now, we're going to look at this trailer, but I'm going to tell you right now, based on this trailer, this has no connection to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay? Which is kind of disappointing for me. But taking out that aspect of everything, okay? Taking that out, this still looks to be an interesting trailer. Alright. So let's take a look at this trailer for Disclosure Day, and I'll give you some of my thoughts and opinions on what we're seeing, and quite possibly what they're going for in this movie.
If you found out we weren't alone.
Now, that scene right there honestly did not feel like Steven Spielberg. That whole scene right there where all the deer are looking at the people and stuff, honestly, that feels more like M. Night Shyamalan. And that feels like something you would see in Signs. And that's not a knock against Signs, okay? Signs is a great movie, okay? But just did not feel like Steven Spielberg, okay? Steven Spielberg movies have always been grandiose. They've always been big. This one has subtlety to it that Steven Spielberg movies just really didn't have, okay? Kind of like a mysterious element to it that his movies really did not have, okay? And that's not a knock against M. Night Shyamalan. That's not a knock against Steven Spielberg. I'm just saying that this trailer starts out really not feeling like a Steven Spielberg movie. I'm just going to be honest with you.
If someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you?
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Let's today is today's
Now, what I'm seeing here is that there's some type of psychic contact being made. And what you saw was, I think he's going to examine all aspects of what would be a first contact situation, not just culturally, but religiously and scientifically, which I really don't think has been done properly in a UFO film so far. I really think Close Encounters of the Third Kind really did do that, okay? But this time is first contact, okay? This ain't a bunch of scientists looking at some UFOs and, some guy going in there. This is like actual first contact on a large scale, on a freaking TV news broadcast, okay? And I'm really interested to see where he goes with this.
People have a right to know the truth. It belongs to 7 billion people.
what is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Now, I'm going to go back here for a second. And if you look at that screen behind you, behind the dudes there, this honestly feels like it's not just one person. That clicking the contact was made by multiple people around the world. And more likely than not, what we're seeing here in this scene right here is a situation where you've got some type of government agency that handles first contact with alien life. Okay? So that's probably what we're seeing here. Not so much Men in Black as more like Project Blue Book. Okay? Some type of United Nations or government entity that basically are responsible for first contact. Okay? So I think that's what we're seeing here. And those pictures behind everyone are probably the people that the aliens made contact with. Like you saw earlier with the news reporter, the whole clicking and stuff. It wasn't just probably her, it was probably others around the world. And that's their pictures and everything.
What is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm gonna show you.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world. All at once. People keep wondering.
Now, this is really interesting right here. Because for decades, since they've started, people have started wondering about crop circles. And right here, you see a guy standing in the field as the crop circle is being formed. Watch.
People keep wondering.
That is really interesting to me, the fact that they're doing the crop circles with this, okay? And I really do think it does add a little bit of realism to it, okay? So I'm really disappointed in the fact that this is not a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, but I'm also kind of excited because this looks really good, okay? This is not taking the normal, like, funny or action-oriented step towards alien contact. This is taking a more realistic, logical approach to First Contact. And I'm totally digging it so far.
Encountering the unknown.
They're coming! They're coming!
They are starved for the truth.
Do you think there could be others?
Why would he make such a vast universe? Yet save it only for us?
So that was the trailer for Disclosure Day. So first off, I'm kind of disappointed this isn't a sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay, because for months now I've been hearing rumors about this, that this was supposed to be some type of sequel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay, but it turned out not to be. So setting that aside, okay, we're not getting a Close Encounters of the Third Kind sequel. This looks to be really interesting. Okay, I mean, because this looks to be taking a real world look at what First Contact could be like. Whether you're talking about secret government agencies that are allowed to handle that sort of thing, whether you're talking about contact being made on a wide open way throughout the media and everything, whether you're talking about certain people trying to keep it locked away so that way they could get the technology, they could get the knowledge that these aliens would bring. This does feel like they're taking a more grounded route to First Contact with alien life. Okay, and I'm very interested to see another trailer. I hope we get one soon. I suspect we'll get one during the Super Bowl. Okay, this looks to be one of those trailers you would get during the Super Bowl. So yeah, I'm liking this trailer. Okay, but the whole vibe of it at the beginning of the trailer, where the deer were looking at the people, where the bird was flying in. Okay, that didn't feel like Steven Spielberg. That felt more like M. Night Shyamalan. Okay, and that's not a knock against M. Night Shyamalan. That's not a knock against Steven Spielberg. I love both directors, but Steven Spielberg movies are really grandiose. Okay, and I'm going back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Terminator. They're really big in scope. This seemed to be not big in scope, but mysterious and kind of harking back to what Signs did. Okay, so that's kind of concerning for me. And the reason it's concerning for me is because I want this to be a Steven Spielberg movie. I want this to be grandiose. I want this to lure you in with story, not with, who this is and who that is and all that stuff. I want it to take a more realistic approach to what First Contact could be. And I think for the majority of the trailer, it did that. Okay. Now, obviously, it took some liberties with the whole telekinesis thing and stuff. But, I do think this is taking a real world aspect of what First Contact could be like and putting it on the big screen. Now, does this make me want to go see it? And understand, when I say that, okay, I literally have to spend $100 to see a 2-hour movie because I have to pay for gas, I have to pay for the tickets, I'll probably end up having to pay for some food, and I have to pay for the gas back. Okay, so you're talking at minimum $75, at maximum $110. Okay, right now, no. I need to see another trailer, and I do believe that this is one of those trailers that will be made during the Super Bowl. Okay, now am I 100% sure about that? No, but I think that's what's going to happen. Okay, either during the Super Bowl or right after. Okay, that this trailer, there'll be another trailer for this movie. Okay, but this is a really interesting movie. I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. It's just doesn't have the Steven Spielberg feel to it. I'm liking the realistic, grounded approach they're taking to what First Contact could be like. Because it looks like they're looking at all aspects of it, not just the action aspect, but the religious aspect, the cultural aspect, the aspect of maybe not governments not wanting this to get out, so they're going to try to keep it hidden however way they can. Okay, so. And yes, there's going to be action in it based on what we saw. There's going to be a little mystery to it. But it ain't going to be like Men in Black goofy, or it ain't going to be like Independence Day high intensity action. It's going to be a more grounded look at, First Contact by the trailer. Okay? But I need to see more. But anyway, that was Disclosure Day. It comes out this summer, 2026, as that release date has not been revealed yet. But it does look interesting, and to be honest, if they can bring out a better trailer that really showcases what we're going to see, not this vague trailer we got here, then it quite possibly could be a movie I would want to see either in theaters or at home.
Now let's take a look at the news from the world of anime that piqued my interest this week.
Now, continuing on in our movie and TV segment, we actually got some anime news these past 2 weeks. And it's kind of big news in my opinion. A while back, there was an anime called Black Clover. And they went on like a 2-year break to kind of, let more of the anime be made, to kind of flesh out what the story was going to be about and all that. Well, these past couple of weeks, we got a trailer for Black Clover. Now, I absolutely love this anime, okay? It's one of my favorite anime. It's about a boy who lives in a world with magic, but he doesn't have magic until one day he gets a 5-leaf clover grimoire, which is basically a magic book that contains a demon. And using the power of this demon and his only ability to really never give up, he makes his way through the levels of magicians, fighting different magicians, discovering more about this power he now has, all that, okay? And, it's a really good anime. I really like it a lot, Well, it kind of left things out in the open as a war was getting ready to brew in the universe of Black Clover. Okay? Well, now we got a new trailer. Some new episodes are about to drop soon. And so we're going to take a look at this trailer, and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the trailer for the upcoming anime series, Black Clover. Now, this right here is the very beginning of the series when Asta and his friend are determined to prove themselves and to become the Wizard King. Now, Asta is the one without magic, but his friend has just immense amounts of magic, okay? Immense amounts of magic. And they become kind of rivals and friends at the same time, trying to make that high level of becoming what they call the Wizard King. I always loved that scene right there between Asta and Yuno, because even though they're best friends, they're rivals to see who gets to be the Wizard King. Okay?
クローバーの3枚の葉にはそれぞれ誠実、希望、愛が秘められている。4枚目の葉には幸運が宿る。5枚目には悪魔が住む。まだだ！今ここで限界を超える！
Okay, and that's the end of the trailer. Not a whole lot there story-wise, which I'm okay with, but it does kind of get me hyped for the next season that's coming out soon. I think it drops in January, but yeah, I can't wait for it to come back. I mean, 2026, we're getting back Saga of Tanya the Devil, and now we're getting back Black Clover. So 2026 really does seem like the year that all these anime that kind of went on break are coming back with a vengeance. Okay, so I can't wait for Black Clover. I can't wait for Saga of Tanya the Evil. I mean, it's going to be an awesome year for anime fans, especially the beginning of the year with both Black Clover dropping, and then you've got Saga of Tanya the Evil kind of dropping in April. So not only will you have Black Clover dropping sometime in January by what I've heard, you'll also have Saga dropping in April. All right. So yeah, 2026 looks to be a banner year for anime. And Black Clover is just one more example of that.
Continuing on with the news from TV, movies, and anime from the past 2 weeks.
So continuing on in our movie and TV segment, we've got another movie. And this movie is telling the tale that has been told thousands of years before. This is actually the first adventure story I ever heard of. Okay? And I'm speaking specifically about the Odyssey. Okay? Now, the Odyssey, the original Odyssey, was made by Homer. And it talks about a journey home. It talks about the king of Ithaca returning home to his wife and son after the Trojan War, which was thousands of years ago. Okay? Chrisopher Nolan has decided to make it. Based on the trailer I've seen so far, okay, I think he's going to mainly focus on this movie is mainly going to focus on Odysseus' journey home after the Trojan War is over to get back to his wife. Okay? And even though in Homer's original epic, not only did it focus on Odysseus trying to get home, it also focused on his wife Penelope trying to keep suitors away and people telling her husband's dead and all this stuff. All right, I think this movie will mainly focus on Odysseus' return home. The Cyclops, the Sirens, all that stuff. So let's take a look at Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. And I'll just give you some of my overall thoughts and opinions on it. So right here, obviously, what we're seeing is the Trojan War. And this was really the siege of Troy. Helen of Troy, all that. So I think what we're seeing here is Odysseus seeing all his brethren just slaughtered because of, Greek and Troy armies fighting it out. Okay? So I think that's what we're seeing here is just the graves of all of his fallen comrades.
After years of war, no one could stand between my men. And home.
And that idea today that no one can stand between a soldier and his home is still ringing true today. Okay? I mean, no matter which army you talk about, they say that their whole reason of fighting is just so they can return home to their families in safe and security. Okay? So that whole idea still rings true today. Okay?
Not even me.
Now, one of the reasons why I like Christopher Nolan is because he did the Batman Begins saga. He did Inception. He knows how to make good movies with great stories. Okay. So, as far as the story on this one, I'm not really worried about it. And this absolutely looks epic. Okay? This literally looks like someone told him, hey, you make whatever movie you want to make. Okay? And I think he ran away with that whole idea. Okay? This looks absolutely epic.
Promise me you will come back.
What if I can't?
And there we have the release date. So let me say, this trailer looks absolutely great. Looks absolutely beautiful. Okay. Matt Damon looks absolutely awesome in this. I mean, he looks like Odysseus. How you would see Odysseus, the whole, Trojan hat, armor, all that. He looks absolutely incredible. This here is a good look at Tom Holland as I'm probably going to butcher this name, Telemachus. This is Odysseus' son. This here looks to be a good picture of Anne Hathaway as Penelope, Odysseus' wife. All right, and the fact that we only saw a small portion of these two indicates to me that they're mainly going to focus on Odysseus and his journey home. And they're not going to be going back and forth all that often with Penelope and Telemachus, as well as Odysseus and his men. So I'm figuring that they're mainly going to be focusing on Odysseus and what's going on with him rather than his wife and his son, which I'm totally down for, okay? But anyway, that was The Odyssey. It's a trailer for an upcoming movie that comes out this July 2026. It looks good, man. I mean, it really does look good. I mean, one of the best, like, ancient, one of those type of movies where it has the water and it has, like, ancient boats in it and stuff was always Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. This quite possibly could top that. Okay. This looks really, really good. Okay. Literally, it looks like someone gave Christopher Nolan a blank check and said, make whatever movie you want. And that's what he did. I mean, he got Matt Damon. He got Tom Holland. I mean, he got Anne Hathaway. And so many others. So, yeah, this looks to be a good movie with a lot of star power behind it. And it's coming from Christopher Nolan, the man who wrote the entire Batman Begins saga. Okay? So, yeah, this looks incredibly awesome. However, does it make me want to jump up and go and see it at a theater? No. I want another trailer. Okay? After that second trailer, I'll make a decision then. Because going to the movies in a theater is a really big expense for me. Because it costs maybe $100 to $110 for me to go a town over. Buy popcorn, buy the tickets, buy something to drink, buy gas there, buy gas back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the nearest theater is maybe an hour's drive. So, yeah, like, the movie looks great, and maybe it'll be something I can rent on, like, Amazon Prime or something. But until I see that other trailer, I really don't feel the pull to see it in theaters like I did maybe something else, I don't feel that pull to save up $100 for July to go see this. Okay. But looked like a good trailer. Looked freaking awesome. And I can't wait to see another trailer for it.
Continuing on with the news from TV, movies, and anime from the past 2 weeks.
So, continuing on with our movie and TV news, I really did not know whether or not to put this next story on here because there is so little shown in this trailer. But when you're talking about an Avengers movie, I can't really ignore it either. So, these past 2 weeks, we got a new Avengers trailer. And this is for Avengers Doomsday. And this is said to be a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame. And if you don't remember how Avengers Endgame ended, basically they had beat Thanos and Steve was getting ready to return all the Infinity Gems back to their proper places in history. Okay? So that way the timeline wouldn't be corrupted or change anything. Well, he gets on the platform and he disappears, goes back in time. But instead of coming back, he stays in the past. And the next time we see him, he's an old man and he hands Sam Wilson the shield, basically making him the new Captain America. Well, we're getting Chris Evans back as Captain America. This trailer makes that quite obvious. But I also think it could be doing some other things because a lot of people are thinking the same thing I am. But I think that it could be talking about some other things as well. So let's take a look at this trailer and I'll give you some of my thoughts and opinions on it. Now, this is kind of a big hint right here because you see the helmet and you see the motorcycle. It's a Triumph. Okay. If you don't remember, in the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger, he rode a Triumph motorcycle. So this is the first clue that this is Steve Rogers. Okay. Now, this is also another important scene because at the end of Avengers Endgame, this is the exact door that Steve walked up to and saw Peggy in the house. Okay? So I'm kind of wondering if this means that he finally did get together with Peggy and have that dance. Okay? Now, this is also very interesting because here in a minute you're going to see his face. This is Steve and he's holding a baby. So does that mean that somewhere out there in this universe, okay, that there is a baby that has the super soldier serum going through his body? Could that be possible? That there's somewhere out there that there is a bloodline of Steve Rogers that perhaps have the super soldier serum going through their body. Now, I want you to recognize something here for a second. It says Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Endgame. It doesn't say Captain America. It says Steve Rogers. So, this is just a thought of mine. But at one time, Steve Rogers was another superhero by the name of Nomad. okay? Because he did not agree with a lot of stuff the government was doing. Could we be seeing that situation return? Could we be seeing a situation where somehow Steve is brought back to the future, but not as Captain America, as Nomad? I mean, if I go back here, and I'm going to try to find it here in a second. Look right here. He's putting the Captain America suit away. Like he's letting go of that identity of being Captain America. Like his war is finally over. He has finally returned home. Okay. He finally came back to Peggy. Okay. So I'm just kind of wondering if perhaps, that's what we're seeing here. Is that we're not going to get Steve Rogers Captain America. We're going to get Steve Rogers as Nomad. Because there has been a time where Steve Rogers, had the super soldier serum, but he wasn't Captain America. He went by another hero named called Nomad. Okay. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe perhaps they're telling us that not only did Steve Rogers put the identity of Captain America away, but that we're not going to see Captain America back, but we're going to see Nomad or any of the other identities that Steve Rogers has taken over his time since going back into the past and staying there with Peggy. And I do believe that's what's happened here. It doesn't specifically show Peggy Carter's face on here, but I think that's what's going on here, is that he went back and he stayed with Peggy Carter. And there you've got what seems to be a glimpse of the logo. And it's coming out December 8th, 2026. Which, there's the timer right there, 11 months. By the recording of this video, that would have gone down by a couple of days. But basically, 11 months until, we get, Avengers Doomsday. So I'm just going to leave that up there because I'm very interested in this, because there's a lot of people who are thinking that Avengers Doomsday and then the one after it called Avengers Secret Wars could be some type of retcon of the entire MCU story. Now, I don't know how they're going to do that. Okay. But I do hope they do leave some stuff alone. I want them to leave Daredevil Born Again alone. I would like them to leave Miss Marvel alone. Okay, because I thought Miss Marvel was an okay show. I hope they do retcon Captain Marvel. I hope they do retcon the Marvels. I hope they do retcon WandaVision. Now, there's no proof of this, okay? But, there's more and more evidence coming out about it, okay? And I just have to wonder if they are going through Doomsday and Secret Wars. That would give them the perfect opportunity to retcon, to remove Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel from continuity. Okay? And start over from scratch from Avengers Secret Wars, Avengers Doomsday, which is a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame. It would give them the perfect opportunity to start over from scratch and not make the same mistakes they've made before. But there you have it. That was Avengers Doomsday. It's coming out in December 2026. I mean, I don't know what to think at this moment. I'm glad to see Chris Evans back as Steve Rogers. But the fact that they said Steve Rogers, okay, the fact that they said Steve Rogers and not Captain America tells me that we're getting Steve Rogers, but it won't be the Captain America Steve Rogers. It will be some other form of Steve Rogers that's going to be coming in Doomsday. Okay? But, this was enough to whet my appetite. I will be completely honest with you.
Now moving on, let's move on to this episode's video game segment. So, let's see what news dropped in the past 2 weeks in the world of video games.
Now, moving on into our gaming news segment. We got some bad news out of a game that I was kind of looking forward to. And I'm specifically talking about Terminator Survivors. This was supposed to be an open world game, kind of like Days Gone, where where Judgment Day has happened, and you're basically just trying to survive while at the same time fighting off the Terminators. Okay? But we got some really bad news that I want to share with you. And I'm going to explain why this is such bad news. So this right here is a blog update over on their Steam page. Okay. And it says, Marco Ponti here, director of Terminator Survivors. 2025 is coming to an end, and it's been a while since our last update. First of all, I want to thank you all for the patience and understanding you've shown. Though we've been quiet, we haven't been idle. This year has been productive and made important progress across all fronts, from world design and combat to narrative depth and atmosphere. Our aim with Survivors has always been to bring you an authentic and immersive open world Terminator experience that creates the harsh reality of Skynet's uprising and the resilience of humanity in spite of it. It says you'll be immersed in a bleak story where every machine patrolling the open world is a lethal threat, and the chilling sight of a Terminator T-800's red eyes on the horizon means you run, you hide, or you die. So basically, the term T-800 that we all know from the movies will be like this unstoppable force that you have to kind of hide from. Okay. It says here, your journey will be one of desperation. As you explore, you fight Skynet's first prototypes and help the resistance rise from the ashes of civilization. This isn't just another shooter, it's a fight for the survival of all humanity from the moment you step out of the rubble. The start of the resistance against the machines as seen through your eyes. Continuing on, it says, after months of eternal testing, discussions with players and fans of the license, we came to the conclusion that to give you the authentic experience with the best possible shooting and exploratory gameplay, we have to put aside the cooperative multiplayer. I have no problem with that. Okay? I really don't have no problem with that. Because it's going to make it much more intense if it does come out. And I'll explain why I say if here in a little bit. It says, we know this may come as a disappointment, but we believe it is the right creative direction for an uncompromising vision of the world after Judgment Day. I'm not saying it would not have been cool playing as a T-800 hunting down survivors, or even a T-1000, okay? But I think that the fact that they are putting aside multiplayer, and they are going to have a single-player only experience, will make it all the more tense if it does come out. Will make it all the more better when it does come out. That way they can take all that energy they would have had to split between solo and cooperative and just put it all towards a good story, good shooting mechanics, and whatnot. It says here, we've also had to overhaul our release plans. Instead of launching in early access, we want you first steps into the Wasteland to be a complete and polished experience. You might have guessed already, but that means Survivors won't be launching in 2025. We don't have a new date locked in, but we'll let you know when we're ready to share a new release date. This concerns me. Okay? That sentence right there concerns me by the fact that they've already delayed it once. And now they're delaying it again, but now they don't have a firm release date. That's why I'm saying if. Okay? Because that really does concern me. Now, there have been games that have done that, and they've come back, okay? But sometimes, some companies will just want to say, okay, we've put this much money into this project, and at this point, we're not seeing anything, or maybe the vision is not what we want, so let's just dump the project and put the studio towards something else that we know is going to make money, okay? That's what's kind of concerning to me, is if they don't eventually put a release date, get the fans rally behind them, and eventually, show the people who want to make money, hey, we've got this game, it's ready for release, blah blah blah. Then the people who do make the decisions are going to say, okay, we just need to cut bait and run, and they're going to drop it, and that's why I'm saying if. Okay, That's why I'm saying if it will be released. I hope it is. I would love for this to be released. But after delaying it once already, and now delaying it again and removing cooperative multiplayer, it kind of, puts doubt in your head of whether or not this ever will be released. Continuing on, it says, nevertheless, your feedback is crucial to our development process, and so we'll be organizing several closed play tests as the launch window gets closer. If you're interested in taking part and helping us shape the future of Terminator Survivors, you can sign up here, which is got right there. We know expectations are high. We can't wait to show you what we've been working on. For now, I can only thank you for sticking with us as we do our absolute best to create a game worthy of the Terminator legacy. We'll be back with more news as soon as we can. The Terminator Survivors team. I mean, I literally don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. On one hand, I'm glad that they are dropping cooperative multiplayer. Okay, even though it would have been awesome to play as a T-800, a T-650 that we saw in one of the Terminator movies, even a T-1000. Okay, I'm glad they're dropping it, because if this is supposed to be an open world shooter like Days Gone or Far Cry or something like that, okay, I don't really see cooperative multiplayer working all that well. Okay, I really don't. But on the other hand, the fact that they haven't given us a new release date yet is kind of putting doubt in my mind that we'll ever see this, because eventually the people who want to make money are going to say, okay, we've put too much money into this project. At what point do we just cut bait and run? Okay. So, while we got a little good news in that they are going to focus entirely on a solo, project, the fact that it has been delayed indefinitely without any type of release date is putting a lot of doubt in my mind. Before I end this video, I just want to say thank you for watching me this past year. Whether you started watching me before this year or this year entirely, I just want to say thank you for watching me this year. This year has been full of ups and downs. Okay? And I don't get paid for doing this. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing the editing. I enjoy talking about stuff that I'm interested in. All that. Okay? But I know that you could go out and you could watch any number of other creators, any number of other people, but you've decided to watch me. So I want to thank you for that. And I want you to know that in 2026, I'm going to try and up my game a little bit. Okay? I'm going to try to do better. I'm going to try to give you more timely information when I can. And I'm going to try and kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit. Okay? Now, will everything succeed as it does? No. We're going to have setbacks. We're going to have times where things just don't work out. Okay? But I am hoping that this next year will be kind of a revival. A revival for me doing the Geek Report, as well as a revival for movies and TV and gaming. Because things can't keep going to where they're going now, okay? And I don't care if you're talking about Call of Duty. I don't care if you're talking about Battlefield. I don't care if you're talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. There needs to be some type of change in gaming, movies, TV in general. Because, in my opinion, we can't keep doing this. I recently saw an article that said that more people are watching older programming they are the new stuff. Okay, that more people are watching shows like Andy Griffith and Firefly and Space Above and Beyond, the original Battlestar Galactica, than they are anything newer. That more people are watching Everyone Loves Raymond than any of the newer programs. Okay, and there needs to be a change. Okay. And change is hard. Okay, let's just be honest. Change is hard when it comes to the entertainment industry. whether you're talking about movies, TV, music, gaming, books, whatever. But there needs to be a change, okay? Or else the place where we get our programming, the movies and TV and video games that we get, where we get it all, okay? It's going to become a ghost town, okay? I do believe that in the entertainment industry, that there are people out there who can make good programming. One name that comes to mind is Jon Favreau, okay? I truly believe that he can make good programming. I believe there are others who can make good programming, like Chrisopher Nolan, who I talked about earlier, making The Odyssey. Okay, I believe there are actors and actresses who want to make good programming, like Sylvester Stallone, Gina Carano, Sydney Sweeney, and others. Okay, but there needs to be a change in the culture of Hollywood. Because if there ain't, then Hollywood and the entertainment industry in a whole is going to collapse. Because the audience they thought they were going to get ain't coming back. It ain't. Okay? Yet they keep trying to cater to this audience that ain't there. And all the while they're losing more and more people to shows that are actually good. Shows like Saint Elsewhere, shows like ER, shows like Buck Rogers, the original MacGyver, older shows that didn't care about politics, that didn't try to put politics or any of that nonsense into shows. So in closing, this is a kind of mini special commentary. In closing, I would just want to say that I hope 2026 is kind of the wake-up call that Hollywood needs, that the gaming industry needs, that the entertainment industry in a whole needs to finally get out of what is becoming a massive slump. Or else, no one's going to want to make anything anymore in terms of movies, TVs, gaming, whatever. Okay? But I do hope that there is some type of change in the culture. I hope 2026 is kind of a revival of the entertainment industry where they're not scared to take chances. They're not scared about people saying A, B, C, and D, and they don't care what this person is or what that person is. Okay? I really do hope that happens. But, 2026, by all accounts, from what I've read, is meant to be a year of, a year of change. That's what I've heard many people who, are looking forward are saying, that 2026 is a year of change. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Your final Geek Report for the year of 2025. We talked about a few things this past 2 weeks. So first off, we talked about what's in our movie and TV segment, and we took a look at several movie trailers. The first trailer we took a look at was Disclosure Day, the new movie coming out from Steven Spielberg that's supposed to hit this summer. We took a look at it, and I gave you some of my thoughts on it. Then we got some anime news, and that a new Black Clover trailer has dropped, and a new series, Black Clover, which is said to be a continuation of the original Black Clover, is coming out sometime this year. We took a look at the trailer, and I gave you some of my overall thoughts and opinions on it. Christopher Nolan's epic, The Odyssey, dropped a new trailer these past 2 weeks. And we took a look at it, and it looked absolutely beautiful. I mean, just absolutely beautiful, gorgeous, and it looked incredible. And then we looked at the new Avengers Doomsday trailer that focused on Chris Evans. And I just gave you some of my overall thoughts and opinions on it. And then our final gaming news story for 2025 was Terminator Survivors being delayed beyond 2025. Now, this is sort of a good news, bad news thing, but we're going to take a look at it and we're going to talk about it. And finally, I went and I talked to y'all for about 3 minutes about a few things that were on my mind as the year closes out. And basically just said thank you for being with me these past year or however long you've been with me. But anyway, that was your Geek Report for the final. It was actually the final Geek Report of 2025. Like I said before, thank y'all for watching me. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope everyone's staying safe, staying healthy, and I hope you had a great Christmas holiday. And I hope you have an even safer New Year's. I will see you in the new year. Take care of yourself. Watch over each other. Be groovy, be cool to one another. And I will see you guys in the new year. Laters.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode of the Geek Report. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got a moment, please check out my other video sites as well as my social media and give them a like and follow. I will see you all in the next video and the next stream. Laters.